nonviolent protest. By doing so, we send a visible message to the president, to the media, our fellow citizens, and the rest of the world. We have no kings in America. We are a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We will not let that slip away. There is so much more I'd love to say right now, but we have some great speakers coming up, and I want you to hear from them. So let me close with this. Today's protests across America will make an impact. There are millions of people out there today. But this day alone will not save democracy or defeat fascism. There is more work to be done. Call your senators and representatives. Demand that they push back against the authoritarian aims of the Trump regime. And stay vigilant. Be ready to protest again in the future. But hold on to joy. Hold on to the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that was claimed for us as Americans in the Declaration of Independence. Connect with Woman or Indivisible or your local Democratic Party. Join us in the work to save democracy. Okay, so I am usually the MC when we hold events like this, but today we have a special guest MC, Miss Dahlia Rivers. Dahlia began performing across the state in 2017, which is going on 9 years. She began her career in the small town of Edmore, where she created opportunities for the budding community into neighboring cities and founding the Broadway theater shows with Power Diva Productions. Dahlia is a former title holder of MX Battle Creek Pride. You can see her now in the Tri-Cities region at BMO's Bar and the historic Masonic Temple. I will pass the mic to Dahlia for the rest of the program.
Thank you, Allison. Let me bring this to my level real quick. It's going to have to be adjusted for everyone else, but it's me you got for the second. How we doing, Midland?
All right.
You know, I'm just not buying it. How are we doing, Midland?
All right.
Now that's more like it. All right, I want you to make some noise for all the volunteers this evening that have made it possible. I want you to make some noise for the king and queens that are on the stage behind me who have volunteered their time. And most importantly, I want you to give yourselves a big round of applause because you, the people, have showed up today when it counts, when it matters, because our voices are important. Our voices are the people. This is what the nation was founded on. It is not the oligarchy. It is us, the base of the pyramid, the working class.
All right, all right.
I'm just like, and next. But how many of you have been to a drag show before? Okay, that's a good number. How many of you like going to drag shows? Well, we have two coming up that I am in. One of them is the Unity Party at BMO's, where we accept all the safe space of BMO's they have given back to the community. I would love to see y'all there. But we also have an all-ages bingo on the 29th. So bring your kids, bring your family. We will have kids prizes. We will have adult prizes. So don't worry. If you like a little glug glug, we got something for you. Now I'm going to bring onto the stage our first speaker of the evening. Now, before they were our Attorney General, they served 11 years in Wayne County as a prosecutor. And I want you to make a lot of noise for them because they are the first openly LGBT person to be in office in Michigan. They're one of the people who paved the way for us to be who we are openly and not have to hide it to be able to represent the people. And I want you to make as much noise as you did when I said, "How are we doing Midland?" Now keep that going for Miss Dana Nessel.
America, but it is a beautiful day here in Midland, Michigan. And I can't think of any place I'd rather be than here with you right now. So, my name is Dana Nessel. I am an American, and the only king I want is Burger King. I did not sign up to have this wannabe tyrant king in the White House. And, I understand, I recognize that Donald Trump is the duly elected president of the United States, and we ought to recognize that that's true. He got the most votes, and so he won. But he seems to think because he won the state of Michigan by 80,000 votes that he has a mandate to do whatever the hell he wants. But let me tell you something. I also won the state of Michigan, but I won by 370,000 votes. So to me, if anybody has a mandate, it's me, not him. And I believe in a little thing that you might have heard called the United States Constitution. But unlike Donald Trump, I've actually read it. And when I took an oath to uphold and support and defend the Constitution, I actually meant it. And what that means is suing Donald Trump and his lawless, reckless, chaotic, corrupt, and criminal administration all the damn time. So, I've now filed 18 cases against Donald Trump and the federal government. And we have already received preliminary injunctions in half of them. The others are ongoing, and let me tell you, I'm just getting started. So we have done all kinds of things since day one that Trump was in the White House, but some of the things I didn't think we'd have to do at the very, very beginning. Do you remember when they tried to completely eradicate in one day Medicaid and Head Start and our FEMA funding and all of our SNAP benefits? I don't know if Donald Trump recognizes this, and clearly he really doesn't, but we still have something called the separation of powers in the United States of America. And I'm not sure if they know it, but we still have a Congress. And they have a job to do as well. They were meant to stop some of the worst things of happening because they represent us. This is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. Who's it for? The people, and that means all of us. So we have been winning case after case after case, but what we for court orders. And he sure doesn't seem intent to follow them all the time. But that's why it's so important that you are all here. And let's talk just for a second about studies that have been done about other countries when they seem to have a democracy that is sliding fast and furious into a full-blown autocracy and fascism. That's what it feels like here right now, but there's something we can do about it. We don't have to put up with it. So these studies all show that if you can just get 3.5% of the citizens of a country to come out and to protest peacefully, lawfully, but loudly in opposition to what the government is doing, the country tends to stay a democracy because we are having our voices heard. So the numbers are with us. That means only about 350,000 people have to come out here. In the state of Michigan, less than 12 million people all across the United States. I bet we break that record today, folks. And what that means is putting pressure on people, like people in Congress, people even in the cabinet, people who are surrounding this administration to ultimately do one of many things, to make Donald Trump stop the type of things that he's doing that are autocratic in nature and that violate the law, to impeach Donald Trump, and to make sure that the courts and Congress understand what their role is in maintaining our democracy. And we do that by standing up and being loud and making sure that in Washington, D.C., they can hear us all the way from Midland. Now, I have to be honest with you. A lot of the security folks that we consult with told me it was probably a bad idea for me to come here today in light of what happened early this morning out in Minnesota. And there's a lot of folks I know that are in the legislature. There's a lot of other elected officials who decided not to go out to rallies today because they're afraid. Yeah. They're afraid that because of many of the statements that Trump routinely makes, whether it's pardoning 1,500 people who assaulted and attacked police officers at our nation's capital, whether it's attacking the press, whether it's attacking law firms, whether it's saying that the governor of California should be arrested just for filing a lawsuit against him. He has been encouraging people to do the worst of the worst, to act at his behest, because they think they're doing exactly what Donald Trump wants. But I have to say, this is scary as it can sometimes be to come out to an event like this. This is the only way we're going to take back our country. And we can't be quiet. We can't hide. We can't lay down. We have to stand up and be even stronger than we have ever been. And we might have our differences in some things, but if you believe in democracy, if you believe in the promise of America, we all have to stand together because united we stand.
Divided we fall.
United we stand.
Divided we fall.
We can do this, people. We can take back our country, but we have to talk to our friends and our family members and our neighbors and the people who have been spending way too much time brainwashed by whatever's on Fox News. And I guess if Elon Musk can see the light, then certainly our family members and our community members who have been sucked in by this cult can do the exact same. And to know Donald Trump doesn't represent importance of all of you being here, let's come out over and over and over again. Yes! We will not bend. We will not break. We will not lie down. We will stand up. We will fight back. Because the United States of America is worth saving. Stand up, everybody. We love America. And we are going to save it. God bless the state of Michigan. God bless the United States of America.
Now I want you to make some noise again for our Attorney General, Miss Dana Nessel. Now I want to ask a question out there. Is there anyone who has been through the civil rights movements of the past in the audience this evening? I want you to stand right now. And I want the rest of you to look to those people who are still standing and give them thanks for what they gave us, what they fought for. And I want to thank you personally. I just wanted to give you your moment because unfortunately, we have to do this as a generation yet again. But it is important for us to remember our voices are important, and it's important for us to make a stand and be visible. Now, I do apologize for all the brain farts today. Notes, please. I can't with Stadler and Waldorf back there. That dates me right there. But this is the first time I get to meet this individual, and they are a lovely person. I am excited to bring them to the stage. I want to bring to the stage Miss Emmy Zanotti from Equality Michigan Action Network. Emmy is a trans activist who works in politics and building movements. Politics is too important to leave just to the politicians. It needs some kick-ass women behind it too.
What's up, Midland? How are we doing today?
All right.
You know, we've been giving a lot of speeches this year, and normally I have to ask that question again, but I think y'all nailed it the first time. So we'll move on to question 2, which is, Midland, Michigan, do you like being ruled by kings? No! Do you like being ruled by kings? No! Do you like being bossed around by tyrants? No! Do you like being bossed around by tyrants? No! Neither do I. I think we're going to be friends. So here's the deal. My name's Emmy Zanotti. I'm the Senior Director of Movement Building and Political Affairs at Michigan's only statewide LGBTQ political advocacy organization, the Equality Michigan Action Network. And if y'all have been reading the news, you probably know we've had a hell of a year since January 20th, right? But we haven't stopped fighting, just like y'all have not stopped fighting, right?
Right.
And we're not going to stop fighting, are we? So I'm going to tell y'all a little story really quick. 11 years ago almost, 4th of July, 2014, I was 25. Don't do the math, that's offensive. I was taking a bus from Boston, Massachusetts to New York City to go see the fireworks on the river in Manhattan for the 4th of July. And that was also the year I came out as a transgender woman. And I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I grew up in a little town called Bay City. And so, the year I came out as trans, the first time I had ever been in New York City. And if anyone who grew up in Bay City remembers the first time you stepped foot in Manhattan, holy shit. So I'm on this river taxi or something, and we park for the fireworks. It's about 10 p.m. at night. And I'm watching the fireworks, and then I turn to my right on the backside of the boat. And there she is, lit up bright in the night sky, the Statue of Liberty, right? And that moment meant something to me. Tears came to my eyes because I thought about my great-grandparents and their journey here and what that symbol of hope meant to them coming from Torino, Italy, a chance for opportunity to build something that their kids and grandkids and great-grandkids could enjoy for generations to come right here in the United States of America. And when I got off that boat, I got off at a place called the Christopher Street Pier, which I don't expect everyone here to know, and I didn't know this then, but walking from the pier to the subway, Christopher Street walks through a little neighborhood called Greenwich Village, which is where there's a little bar called the Stonewall Inn. And there, in Stonewall, I saw people like me, and for the first time in my life, I saw hope for me in the United States of America. And so while it's important that we resist and oppose kings, and we do resist and oppose kings, don't we?
Yeah.
It's also important as we have conversations with our neighbors and people who might currently support kings, that we talk about what our vision is going to be for the America we get to build from here forward, right? It's important that while the king, right, lays waste to all of our governmental systems, right, undermines voting rights, that in the America we're building, we care about democracy, right? That in the America we're building, we know that the immigrants toiling away on farms to make sure our harvest gets protected and we have food on our table, that those folks are as much a part of the American dream as we are, right? Well, the king wants you to believe that a 13-year-old transgender girl who wears face glitter and has posters of Chapel Roan on her wall is the reason we can't afford our bills. We believe that the hardworking laborers, union workers, who punch in at 6 a.m. while we're still sleeping, who punch in at 2 p.m. while we're on our afternoon coffee break, who punch in at 10 p.m. while we're tucking our kids in for bed, right? That they're the ones who are driving America and they deserve to be paid, right? So it's great. We should resist and oppose kings, but we should also champion this vision of America that's ours. One where we don't just hate the king. And I'll be honest, y'all, I hate the king. But we love and fight for the people that the king hates, right? Immigrants, trans people, workers. We fight for them, right? And of course, there's one other really important thing, if you haven't gathered it yet, that's important about our vision for the country, right? And our vision for the future of America. And that is, no more goddamn kings.
I want to make some noise again for Emmy Zanoni. All these people speak so eloquently, bitch. Sorry. I normally work with a bunch of degenerates. I do apologize. Normally nightlife is my corner of the realm. I'm like Schmeagol in The Lord of the Rings, my precious. I can't with the Muppets behind me. I love y'all. You know, I feel like Animal up here in all this red. Anima! But I'd like to bring to the stage next. They are, pause for dramatic effect. They are the current Democratic Party. I know, I was just like, bye, honey. All right, let's start from the top. Our next speaker is Brandell Adams, currently the chair of Saginaw County Democratic Party. Brandell has a degree in psychology from SVSU and was appointed to the Michigan Board of Psychology from Governor Gretchen Whitmer. He also served as township supervisor. I want you to give a round of applause for Brandell Adams.
All right today? How's Midland doing today? Fired up and ready to go. I can see it. Can we give our organizers another round of applause? I've been to a couple events across Saginaw today and even down to rural Chestnut. And everyone's fired up, but I can tell you, you guys are the largest, most exciting crowd I've seen today. I'm Brandell Adams, chair of the Democratic Party in Saginaw County. I'm so pleased to be here with you today. I'm speaking today before you as someone who, like you, believes in the promise of this country, even when that promise feels tested, torn, and uncertain. We find ourselves living through a time of confusion, anger, and exhaustion. This second Trump administration has deepened divisions, it's frayed our institutions, and blurred the line between power and principle. We've seen truth attacked, trust eroded, and democracy bent under the weight of ego and fear. But let me be very clear. We are not broken. We're not. This nation has withstood civil war, depressions, assassinations, and terrorist attacks. And every time, the people have come together to reclaim the soul of America. This moment is no different. We are still the nation of Roosevelt's resolve. We are still the nation of Kennedy's call to service. We are still the nation of Obama's audacity of hope. And we must be that shining beacon for immigrants who dream of freedom, for workers who deserve dignity, and for children who believe their future should be bright no matter the zip code or which they were born in. The noise is loud, the chaos feels constant, but beneath the turbulence, something steady and powerful remains. And that's the will of the people. That's what Donald Trump can never control. That's what no administration, no matter how chaotic or authoritarian, can ever silence. Now is the time to stand up. Not to shrink in fear, but to stand taller, to organize, to speak, to vote, to run, and to rebuild. We fight for our democracy not with hatred, but with hope. We will not answer cruelty with cruelty, but with courage and compassion.
Yes!
We will restore our institutions that have been undermined. We will protect the rule of law. We will defend free speech, a free press, and a fair vote.
Yes!
And we will push forward, not because it's easy, but because we must. This isn't just about a president, people. It's about a principle. That America belongs to all of us. Not just the loudest, or the wealthiest, or the most connected. And when future generations ask us what we did in this time of crisis, we will say that we showed up, that we spoke truth, that we stood together, and that we saved our democracy. So let's rise, united, determined, and unafraid. No matter how dark the night gets, morning always comes. And in America, the dawn is ours to shape.
Yeah!
Keep showing up. Keep fighting. Keep speaking out. Keep looking after one another. Thank you, and God bless you, and God bless these United States of America.
Now I want you to send out this man with a big round of applause and scream for Brandon Adams! You know, I love seeing Saginaw, and I love seeing the Tri-City out here loud and proud and visible. Because let me tell you, after living in these communities my whole life, I definitely feel the voices heard today. And I want to continue with that. She resides in Saginaw. She is a graduate of U of M. She has been on the Board of Education since 2014. I want to make some noise for Pamela Pugh. I feel like we need da-da-da. Does anyone remember what that show was? Then say it.
Okay, I don't know the answer to that. And let me begin by pausing. There were lives of servants that were lost today. And let me give my heartfelt, humble voice of gratitude to their service, to their families, and we continue to lift the senator in prayer, and let's continue to lift them in our thoughts and prayers, and let their lives and their service never be forgotten. So let me start off by doing a roll call. Who is here from Bay City? All right. Who is here from Saginaw? And who is here on the lawn from Midland? It is so amazing to see so many people here in unity against the chaos, the cruelty of the Donald Trump administration. Standing up together is the only way that we win against authoritarianism. Again, my name is Dr. Pamela Pugh, and I have the honor and the privilege to have been elected statewide to serve as your member of the State Board of Education and as the president of the Michigan State Board of Education. And I want you to know that in that role, I've been fighting for years for better funding and equity in our state's public schools. Before that, I served as the chief public health advisor in Flint, Michigan, right down the street, during their water crisis.
Yep.
And before that, I served in Saginaw County for 14 years at the Saginaw County Health Department, bringing every part of community together to tackle childhood environmental health challenges. But I will tell you, and as you can imagine, these roles have not been easy. In Flint, day in and day out, I had to constantly remind elected officials of their duty of the public welfare, their duty to the people. It was an inconvenience to them to consider the consequences of their decisions. Everything was a PR issue. It was about polling and performative politics. While families in Flint were struggling with the devastating health impacts of their water being poisoned for 2 years, with the consent of the state, men in suits, men in ties wanted to just wrap it up and go home. They wanted to just sweep it under the rug.
Shame.
That is a boo. They wanted to abandon the mess and the destruction to our infrastructure. And I think that's something that you here in Midland County know a little bit about far too well with the Sanford Dam disaster.
Oh, yeah.
All while Flint had a king. Governor Snyder disregarded and defied the will of the people in 2012. Don't worry, I'll get that. I'm an environmentally conscious person. But I must keep going. There's a lot to be said. And signed into law Public Act 426, the emergency manager law. And Flint's emergency manager, appointed by Rick Snyder, ignored the people, the elected officials, and the public health officials, and switched the water source in 2014 from Detroit to the Flint River.
Yeah.
He was a king. He was a king who handpicked a ruler who poisoned the mothers, the children, the families of Flint, and continues to deny any wrongdoing. And be careful, because he's showing up again. As I was serving the people of Flint, I was also serving as the elected member of the State Board of Education, where I continue fighting against state takeover of public schools all across the state. Generations of disinvestment and legislative politicking gave our local schools the impossible task of addressing growing inequality with shrinking budgets. Are there any educators on the line? Instead of remedying that disinvestment, the answer again was to crown a king over districts in Detroit, in Flint, in Benton Harbor, an emergency manager to cut teachers' pay and increase class sizes. Most recently, Trump's authoritarianism has stretched to our U.S. education system. He wants to eliminate the Department of Education. He wants to become the king of all school districts in America. And will you join me in saying that we will not let that happen? And as president of your state board of education, I signed a letter in defiance of Trump's agenda to say that our state will never, never bend the knee to sell out our children's education to a tyrant. And our Attorney General, she talked about the 18 lawsuits that she's filed. One she just filed. I want you to know that we've worked in tandem with the State Board of Education, with Michigan Department of Education, with our State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Dr. Michael Rice. Out of those 18 lawsuits, 6 of those have been related to school children. Everything from birthright citizenship, making sure our children can come to our classrooms in Michigan and be safe, to pushing back on that call, that Dear Colleague letter telling us to tell every district in the state that they could not teach or could not do anything related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We pushed back on that. And all 6 of those related to even our libraries. All 6 of those that we stood up against that tyrant. We have a temporary injunction halting hate. in retaliation, Republican minions in our Michigan legislature on the same day that they were suing our Secretary of State, Jocelyn Vinson, attacked me. They attacked our state superintendent of public instruction. They attacked our state Department of Education. They attacked our educators, and most harmful, they attacked our children. And right here in the state of Michigan. Michigan's House Republicans, they scolded me, saying that class size doesn't matter, and if classes were up to 50 children with one teacher, they were good with that. But get this one. They praised voucher schemes backed by Betsy DeVos. This was one that got me. They even claimed glory for the 1920s model of education. And as I sat there, you can imagine all the things that were going through my mind that I should say. But one thing that they did is they pulled out that letter and they began to attack me for standing firm on our commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yes, I wear that with pride. But they expressed their anger for me fighting for classrooms that work for every children. Thank you. And that is why we're here. And when I talked about standing up for students of color, our LGBTQ plus children, our rural youth, those with special needs, they expressed their anger. It is clear, they're focused on chaos over children. They refuse to take responsibility for the legacy disinvestment and instead want to treat our education like a circus. And you do know that our Secretary of Education is a world heavyweight or world wrestling weight czar or something. So of course that's a comfortable space for her. But just like all of you here today, it's time for our politicians to stand up, to deliver strength, and to unequivocally refuse to give in to authoritarianism. We must say loudly, boldly, no more kings. Our neighbors, our brothers, and our sisters, our siblings are being disappeared from our community. Men en masse with guns are showing up at schools, in courthouses, and in foster care facilities to detain and deport law